Think about how the world would be if you tried to quarantine everybody because of the generic type flu. Now, I'm not saying this is the generic type flu, but maybe we'd be just better off if we gave it to everybody, and then in a month it would be over, because the mortality rate of this probably isn't going to be any different if we did it that way than the long-term picture. But the difference is we're wreaking havoc on global and domestic economy.
That was CNBC analyst Rick Santelli suggesting that it would be better to infect the world population with COVID-19 in order to help the stock market. Wow. Wow. What do you say to that? That's not only stupid, but dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. And I wish I could say this guy was kidding, that he was messing around. But this is in the context of negative news reports of COVID-19 affecting the stock market. Stocks have plunged. Even after their small rally after Joe Biden won Super Tuesday, which really helped health insurance stocks, by the way, it went right back down. Why? Because we have supply chain issues now. We've got global trade that's impacted. You got people that are afraid. And the way that you allay those fears is by a strong, well-executed response from the federal government, right? Well, do we have that? Well, what do we have from the Trump administration? Fake news. Talked about that before. Downplaying the mortality rate, as Trump did on Hannity. Telling people who are sick to go to work. Ignoring CDC recommendations, right, of travel. Not only that, but before this, of course, Donald Trump had famously tried to cut the NIH by several $1 billion. It's about an 8% cut from the budget. We are, in America, uniquely vulnerable, also because of our lack of healthcare, which, again, Donald Trump and his administration, along with people that cheer him on, like Rick Santelli, who was a Trump supporter, wanted to eliminate the ACA. And are still trying to eliminate the ACA. I mean, wow. If anybody is unprepared for a pandemic, it's the United States. And so this guy, instead of saying, what we could do to allay the fears of COVID-19 is actually try to, find a way to make sure everybody gets tested for free. They can afford the testing and, make sure that we help out the American people, or maybe get some sort of universal health care. Maybe it's time. They're showing the real weaknesses in the system. Because, maybe if we had a universal healthcare system, stocks wouldn't have been affected so much. Right? But no, instead of that, he says, let's get everybody sick and let the weak die. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what would happen. Because what COVID-19, who it mainly is fatal to, are people with compromised immune systems. People who have had cancer, or people who have cancer, people who have some sort of compromised immune system from maybe autoimmune disorders or anything like that. Younger, healthy people, we get sick, but generally we tend to make it through pretty well. At least a lot better than others. But this is insane. This is dooming millions of people. It's literally the anti-healthcare. Like, no, let's fix the stock market by killing off the weak. This is some social Darwinism garbage. Seriously. And again, through all of this, Santelli, his entire concern is let's fix the stock market. And Trump's as well. You know what Trump got the government to do? Trump got the government to cut interest rates. Interest rates. That's the main concern. No, we got to cut interest rates. We got to help the stock market recover over fears of COVID-19. So, do that. And then he's also considering another round of tax cuts, mainly for air travel, right? Look, these people are losing a lot of money, the airline industry. We got to prop them up with tax cuts, guys. That's the Trump response. So, look, it's no surprise that you have people who only worry about the stock market saying ridiculously dangerous stuff like this. And so they were, of course, called out. Joshua Potash says this is absolutely horrifying. Rick Santelli and CNBC says we should consider giving coronavirus to everybody just to get it over with. That way it won't wreak so much havoc on the economy. This is your brain on capitalism. Political science professor Seth Maskett also weighed in by saying, I sometimes worry after doing TV interviews that I may have gotten a fact wrong or oversimplified an argument or advocated for a Darwinian genocide to protect the stock market like this gentleman did. I know there's always that concern, right? Always that concern. The Nation's G here put this in more plain terms without the sarcasm. Assuming the most conservative estimates of 0.5% mortality, which, by the way, it's estimated about 3.4% mortality rate, generally among the general population, much higher for, of course, people over 60, as elderly people are more effective or more susceptible. Even at 0.5%, right? Jeet says this is a call for the death of 37,500,000 people worldwide, or 1,750,000 Americans, all in order to shore up the stock market. That is a very, very incredibly conservative estimate. I mean, it's monstrous. How could you even think about this? How could you even say that? I mean, look, Rick Santelli is not a good guy. We know that already. He's the original Tea Party guy, right? But now we also find out that not only is he an idiot that doesn't care about people, he's monstrous. Monstrous. It's sickening. Sickening. But then again, these people go on TV and say this without any sort of self-reflection, right? Because we're used to a capitalist system. When we bring up, that allows that 68,000 Americans to die from lack of access to healthcare. So, every year, 68,000 people die, and the capitalists like this guy shrug their shoulders. It's just the cost of business, man. But hey, stock market profits for the healthcare industry, got to keep those profits up, man. I mean, what's another near 2 million people when we've got the markets to worry about? Profits over people. Profits over people. That's all they care about. Activist Robert Fortuna, who's a clinical psychologist, also called out Santelli. He said, and he's got more stark numbers. He says the projected death of 11 million Americans would be a fair price to pay for projected better long-term stock growth, says a capital extremist. Now, look, I don't know if the numbers that he said are accurate, but I do know that, yes, if everyone got infected by that, there would be millions of people that would die. That's a terrible idea. Terrible, terrible. But that's what they are. These people are extremists. They really are. Think about it. I mean, we are called extreme because we advocate for single-payer healthcare, right? For government-sponsored insurance. But these guys are out here saying, oh, no, that's extreme. No, the better option is just to infect everybody. That way we get it over with and the markets settle down. We're the extreme ones, though. I mean, come on. Come on. Just the fact that that's the accepted narrative, I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know about the way the elites in this country think about the rest of us. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.